Still
Coach?
afternoon? Almost. 2 minutes. Good. How are you guys?
Good.
Good summers, hopefully. Yeah.
Yourself?
Awesome. Awesome. Really good. This is way early, only 2 days in, but the wide receivers look like they were pretty aggressive and playing well today. What's kind of your early impressions so far?
Yeah, they did a nice job. Day 2 of camp, obviously, things are still really fresh and active, and that's what you want to see. They did such a good job coming out of a player-led summer. I think you can see some of the benefits of that. But all those guys are asked to be, getting pushed and asked to be aggressive, and they did a nice job.
Mario said even in LA at Echo Media Day that the drops for what you can chart in the spring are down like 80%. So how encouraging has it been that for all offseason this is an issue you knew you had to address, and that you're getting results right now that appear to be close to what you
Sure. Yeah. I think every day we go back and we look at that stuff and give a lot of feedback to the guys, and they came off last season knowing a lot of things we had to improve at all positions, and those guys did a nice job of responding. They've done a really good job so far. Did a really good job in spring. Again, a great job in summer. Just you can tell coming into camp. But that's key to our victory. At their position, and they've done a nice job responding.
How timeline-wise, when do you want to make a decision between Dallas and Brady? On one hand, they're both veterans, so you could go very close to the start of the season, but do you have a time in mind as to when you'd like that decision?
Yeah, I don't think we've got an exact date. I think we're going to continue to make sure that they understand the organizational depth chart, and every guy and every day is going to get evaluated. And both those guys are veteran guys with a ton of reps, and we're fortunate to have it. I wouldn't put a date on that process. I think it's something we go into daily and talk about.
Mike certainly got the crowd cheering with that big laid out catch in front of all the fans. Just a quick word on his progress through the last couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, Mike has come out and kind of built off of spring as obviously a true freshman. He did, that's where I think that it pays dividends to come in and get those practices in spring, and then go into a summer and being able to run and play with confidence. And it's really, that's really an attribute to how he's worked and the ability he's done early on to get here, and then let alone his just innate ability to play football. He loves the game. He plays it well. What you saw on film as a recruit, what's showing up out here, and I think that's part of the evaluation process.
One of the things that he talked about, coming in and working with his brother, catching jug machine, throwing 70, before he even got here. I mean, does that kind of stuff manifest out there, at least in the first couple of days?
Yeah, I think that's manifested. You're talking about Micah in general. Yeah, I think Micah's a good example of when you're evaluating guys. He's been doing that since he was 5, knee-high or grasshopper. He was 5 years old playing with his dad, but he's done an awesome job as he's grown through with football. He's had an older brother, obviously, who you mentioned, but that part of going to college and now continuing that process, he grew up with him. He's done a nice job.
When you guys have the referees out here, even doing stuff like on the one-on-one drills, do you have discussions with them afterwards about what are you guys seeing from your perspective?
Yeah, for sure. That's having the refs for us is a great advantage to have perspective on how they see things and what we can do. Let alone just having the discipline every day. When you get them out there once in every 10 practices or so, and your guys are not seeing it. We're just trying to get whatever we can bring that's more game relevant. What we're going to try to do. And I think that's one component you guys have seen us do for a long time.
What has this group of freshmen kind of done for the upperclassmen receiver group, just in terms of pushing them, keeping them aggressive, knowing how touted and how talented a lot of these new guys coming in are?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of our recruiting process. And now really now going into our second year of full cycle is adding to the depth, number one, so the older guys get a chance to really have a greater group and be able to shrink that gap, and those guys push each other, and that's the whole key to everything within our programs, making sure we're bringing guys that are going to push us and make us better and make the arrow keep pointing up.
Where are you evaluating the backup quarterbacks? What are you looking for out of them from fall camp, or things of focus for them?
I think that the backup quarterbacks have to be able to continue to show growth just like any other position. I mean, seeing Tyler, let's use him as an example, running with the twos right now, making sure his steady progression as we go ahead and chart every throw and chart everything he's doing. He's getting as critical coaching as Justin is in that regard, and I think that he can see his evolution going along. And I think he can't be comfortable coming into that spring ball and saying, okay, I've gotten better. Now I'm going to go ahead and take a back seat, because there's plenty of examples we use all the time of how fast that thing goes. A few years ago it happened, it went down all the way to the third guy, and fourth guy, and he understands that. He's a mature kid, and it's obviously a tribute to kind of how he's gone about his work. And he shows steady growth, and we talk about it every day.
When Verdell's reps are managed as a whole in practice, and understandably so, but when he does get out there and he consistently is breaking big runs, is that a little level of assurance that that guy who you know is that talented is still he's bringing it at that level, even in managed reps in practice?
Yeah, I mean that's really our expectations now, right? I mean, you see what guys can do, you see how their ability can be, and we've got to make sure that those guys understand that there's a standard that we have. CJ's example of being the guy we know who can break some big runs. If he's got a chance in practice to do it, we expect to see it, and he continues to show that, and that's a great deal. We believe if we see it once, we can do it again. So we've got to make sure that we continue to press the gas there and keep going.
They normally have a guy at each position, where he comes back, their role's going to be. It seems like receiver this year. I mean, this camp really is important in terms of these guys can fill any kind of role right now.
Yeah, every day. And we like to say it with the whole group, is the fact that you don't want anyone comfortable. I don't want anyone comfortable with their position. A lot of guys have a ton of reps on offense. We have the opportunity to do that only 1 year in one system, but no one can feel comfortable in that regard. Everyone's got to make sure that every day we're evaluating. And for the wide receivers, with the added group, with the added depth, I think every day is an opportunity for them to say, hey, I got to go out and go win a job, take a job, keep a job, and continue to get better.
Whether they're comfortable or not, your linemen, 4 of those guys know they're going to play. Your quarterback knows he's going to play. Those receivers feel like every one of them could have a question that I might play, or if I'm not performing, I won't play. And
that's exactly what we want to feel like. Is that they have a chance to make a play and make it a game-winning play, make a big play, and contribute, and not just be an X and O out there. They got to go in and expect to play.
Rodell said yesterday that he felt like he struggles at times reading the holes, finding the blockers, efficient level. Do you feel like that's something he needs to work on?
Yeah, I would be wrong in taking words out of the guy's mouth who's actually doing it. I think that's part of I've been a player. If he sees that or feels that, that's probably right. I think what he's saying is that I've had one season to check this out. I still feel like I'm maybe not seen as fast as I want to be, or maybe there's some flashes of different things I don't see. But for the most part, in my opinion, he's done a great job of going through one season and saying he's got a natural feel back there. And Coach Masters did an awesome job with all those guys rolling through them. And I know that the arrow's up for sure back there, especially with CJ.
Is there anything you evaluated about yourself from last year, whether it be play calling, play design, things that you've seen over the summer that you want to improve on your end?
No, absolutely. I think as coaches we do the same thing. I brought it up to the group on the first meeting. A lot of things we talk about is I make sure they don't forget about their summer investment, their off-season investment. And I point out all the things they've done to basically shrink the gap in each other's relationships in football, and all the things they put in forth and not to forget about. And I made a point to all of them, Ryan, we did too. We went off-season, studied ourselves. We spent a really long time on ourselves, and then we went and visited other people. We talked to other people talking to us. We went down and saw NFL teams and talked to guys that we've worked with and college teams and guys that want feedback. We are absolutely of that nature, and specifically myself, making sure we are constantly evaluating what we're doing. How can we be more effective? And those things fire you up, man. That's how you be challenged, and you got to really love that expectation.
And if you time for a couple more.
Just continue to be better. I think continue to be better in that regard. There's a lot of specifics we need to be. In regards to getting better. I like to build off of what we did, without getting into too specifics and getting into scheme. If that makes sense.
How much did spring ball help Juwan's transition to compete for his position at receiver?
Well, just like anything else, he had an opportunity to get in here for 15 practices and get a jump. And I think that's huge. They can see it paying dividends. Let alone he was kind of a mature kid who's played football before, so that part about it wasn't. The lights weren't that bright, but more than anything was just understanding he did an awesome job, and I think he's propelled himself in position to make some big impact.
Mario talked about, and so did Kevin Sumlin and some other folks who faced Auburn's defense over the years offensively, but they just are schematically. Kevin Steele's different compared to anything you see out here, certainly from where you came from elsewhere in the Big 12. Over your summer preparation and watching them, beyond their skill and talent, how different are they? Do you have to approach this preparation for this game eventually a little bit different because schematically they're different than teams you face?
Yeah, to be frank, at this point after practice too, I haven't thought about bench any of our opponents. We poured some notes in the summer and have been done and took a good step forward in evaluating some of the guys we played, let alone who we play. But at that point, we really have not even thought two bits about it. Right now, I'm so focused on our identity and our principles and our offense, and what we need to do and communicate effectively for our offense. I couldn't really, I'm not going to comment much on Auburn right now.
Last one.
Who taught you how to recruit? Like who most influential in your career and just kind of learning that trade and how to be most effective with it?
I think, to be honest, it's probably a culmination of a lot of people you're around. You pick up little things from a lot of people, minus, I should say, plus the things you naturally have. I think that Dick Tomey is probably one of the biggest influences all I've had for coaching, and he's the most, rest in peace, he's the most human part of everything I'm try to do socially, let alone professionally. And I think that part pays dividends in recruiting. I don't know if it pays dividends for everybody else, but I know for me, being the human approach to people and having a real conversation that's valuable and engaging goes a long ways. And I think that that's what a lot of our coaches are doing, and I think a lot of our staff does, and we believe in that.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, guys.